The coaches behind the remarkable turnaround in WKU football. Coaching Hotbed on the Hill. Presented by Nats Outdoor Sports and Final Finish.
Welcome to our 13 Sports Special WKU Football Coaching Hotbed on the Hill. I'm Mike Cleff. In the next half hour, we'll hear from the 4 coaches who have been a part of one of the most remarkable turnarounds in college football within the past 8 years. A turnaround without a hint of any kind of potential NCAA violations. WKU Football is one of just 5 programs in the nation that have won back-to-back outright league titles the past 2 seasons. But first, to move forward, we must take a brief look back. In 2002, the legendary Jack Harbaugh led the Hilltoppers to a Division I 2A national championship. His successor, David Elson, led the Tops to 5 straight winning seasons before things turned for the worse. A 2-10 season in 2008, followed up by a winless campaign in 2009. That leads us into the man who was brought in to bring WKU football out of a slump of epic proportions. A man who, to this day, bleeds Hilltopper red and keeps a very close eye on his alma mater. Willie Taggart made such an impact on the Hill that his jersey number 1 is retired. And he is one of the trifecta of Tops former coaches who are currently coaching at Power 5 conference schools. Coach Taggart is in his first season as the head coach of the Pac-12's Oregon Ducks. And despite hitting the ground running in his new job, Willie was gracious enough to speak with us about his time as head coach of his alma mater and why he has a professional and personal interest in the Tops' current head coach. Willie Taggart was a standout quarterback at WKU and was the co-offensive coordinator for Jack Harbaugh during the Tops' 2002 national championship season. Taggart and WKU's director of athletics, Todd Stewart, who worked for the Tops' football media relations department at the time, recall how a Bowling Green eating establishment played a role in Taggart's hiring.
Willie and I went to Bob Evans here in town, and we didn't get recognized. We sat there, and that was really my first chance to truly visit with Willie privately, you know, one-on-one, and just a great guy.
After we ate, we went back to the president's house, and he offered me the job.
Taggart inherited a Tops program that went winless in 2009. One of Taggart's assistants during his first season as head coach on the Hill was Mike Sanford. The two had coached together at Sanford under former WKU assistant coach Jim Harbaugh.
A very unique ability to bond with the players on this team, but to also demand more out of them.
You knew it was going to take time, and you knew you had to work day in and day out to try to get some good football players in there to turn it around.
Taggart's first season saw the Tops snap a 26-game losing streak on October 23, 2010 at Louisiana Lafayette. Year 2 saw a 5-win improvement, and the third season saw Taggart lead the Tops to back-to-back 7-victory seasons, culminating in a Little Caesars Pizza Bowl bid.
I think we all did that, the coaches and players that was there and administration that was there. Everybody bought into it and kind of went through the growing pains, you know, and we all kept our eyes on the prize.
Taggart left WKU to take the head coaching post at South Florida. After 4 seasons with the Bulls, Taggart was named the head coach at Oregon last December, joining Jeff Brohm and Bobby Petrino as the last 3 WKU head football coaches to currently be head football coaches at Power 5 conference schools.
I know when I got there, you used to go recruiting, and people say, WKU, what's that? Who is that? You know, and they're not saying that anymore. And it's a tribute to the coaches that have been there and kept it going. And now, like I said, it's a place where it attracts big-time players, big-time coaches.
Willie entrusted me with a lot, you know, and that meant a lot to me. And he also demanded a lot out of me, and that helped make me a better coach.
Remember something Jack Harbaugh always talked about with us as players, you know, this can be a championship program, and then to see it now and the way it's going is big time. Go Tops!
Coach Taggart's family includes his wife Tanisha, his sons Willie Jr. and Jackson, and his daughter Morgan. On a more somber personal note, 13 Sports wishes to pass along our condolences to Coach Taggart on the recent passing of his father John, who Willie affectionately calls Pops. Coming up next on our 13 Sports Special WKU Football Coaching Hotbed on the Hill, 13 Sports Chad Bishop talks in depth with Taggart's successor, Bobby Petrino. And a little bit later, 13 Sports Dominique Yates sits down with last season's WKU football coach Jeff Brohm, who's now the leader of the Big Ten's Purdue Boilermakers. We'll be right back with more of our 13 Sports Special. Welcome back to our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football, coaching Hotbed on the Hill. After Willie Taggart left the head coaching post at WKU to take over the South Florida Bulls program, newly hired WKU Director of Athletics Todd Stewart turned his attention to a coach that was a proven winner. 41 wins in a 4-year span at Louisville and 21 victories during back-to-back seasons at Arkansas. But he had left a sour taste in the mouths of the NFL's Atlanta Falcons and Razorbacks Nation. Bobby Petrino was a highly respected for his offensive brilliance on the collegiate level, but he was out of a job when Taggart left for the Sunshine State. Petrino enters his 4th season as the ACC's Louisville Cardinals head coach, his 2nd successful stint with Louisville, which has resulted in producing the program's first ever Heisman Trophy winner in Lamar Jackson. Coach Petrino's time on the Hill was brief, but it was successful in more ways than one. 13 Sports' Chad Bishop has more on Coach Petrino, who led the Hilltoppers to an 8-victory season in 2013.
On December 7th, 2012, after a long and tumultuous day on campus, Western Kentucky Athletic Director Todd Stewart returned home and reached for his mobile phone, sending a single text message.
When in the history of Western Kentucky football will we ever have the opportunity to hire somebody in the prime of their career with a resume like Bobby Petrino has?
The Louisville Cardinals have turned themselves into an ACC power and a national championship contender with a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and they've done that under the direction of Coach Bobby Petrino. Petrino spent 1 season at WKU in 2013, and we were able to come to Papa John's Cardinal Stadium to talk to him about his time on the Hill.
I'm very appreciative to him hiring me and giving me the opportunity and to be able to put that staff together and work the way we did was a lot of fun.
Petrino hired Jeff Brohm to be his offensive coordinator. He tabbed Brandon Dowdy to be his starting quarterback. Wide receivers Taywan Taylor and Nicholas Norris joined the program as true freshmen, names that are now synonymous with WKU greatness.
The one thing that stood out for me was when he said, I really want to be a head coach now. I really want to come to Western, work with you to help myself become a head coach.
Petrino's year didn't come without its struggles, however. The Hilltoppers, despite beating Kentucky 35-26 in the season opener, were humiliated 52-20 at Tennessee and collapsed late in their Sun Belt Conference opener at South Alabama. Dowdy was benched a week later prior to the home opening game against Morgan State. But then the Tops found their footing, winning 7 of their final 9 games and finishing in a tie for 3rd place in the Sun Belt standings.
What I hoped would happen was that Bobby Petrino would come in here and do a great job as our football coach. Certainly knew he wasn't going to be here long term just because of where he was as a football coach.
I think that he did a great job of helping me with the media and being prepared and doing all that. The people in Bowling Green, you know, and when I think of coming there to Western Kentucky and how the people embraced us with open arms and, you know, how they do such a great job supporting the program, that was a lot of fun. And we ended up having a good football team. You know, we had a great start to the season. We had a couple games where we struggled, but then we finished very strong.
Undoubtedly, Todd Stewart took a risk when he considered Bobby Petrino a viable candidate to wear the red towel. But had he not taken that risk, where would Western Kentucky football be today? What is it about Western that allows someone like you, Jeff Brohm, Willie Taggart, to go there, have success, and coaches to be successful down at WKU?
Yeah, I think it's an easy place to recruit to. You know, you got the Nashville airport down there, and you can get direct flights to South Florida. So you're able to get players to come in and they enjoy the experience, get a great education, get to graduate. So the tradition is very good right now.
Coach Petrino's family includes his wife Becky, his sons Nick and Bobby Jr., and his daughters Kelsey and Katie. And in a bit of irony, Coach Petrino and the Cardinals kick off the season against the Purdue Boilermakers, coached by his former offensive coordinator and fellow former WKU head coach Jeff Brohm. Speaking of Coach Brohm, 13 Sports' Dominique Yates heads to West Lafayette, Indiana to talk with last year's Tops head coach and the first-year head coach of the Purdue Boilermakers. And coming up a little bit later, we'll visit with the current head coach of the Hilltoppers, Mike Sanford, and how his first impression of Bowling Green had a major impact on his return to the Hill. Our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football, Coaching Hotbed on the Hill continues in just a moment. Welcome back to our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football, Coaching Hotbed on the Hill. We've heard from former WKU head coaches Willie Taggart and Bobby Petrino. Now it's time to check in on the third former Tops coach to move on to a Power 5 conference head coaching position. Jeff Brohm is a native of the Bluegrass State, having grown up in Louisville, and he was a standout quarterback on the high school level, on the collegiate level at Louisville, and played several seasons in the NFL. Coach Brohm paid his dues as an assistant coach for several years before Bobby Petrino brought Brohm onto his WKU coaching staff to be the Hilltoppers offensive coordinator. After one season as a Tops assistant, Brohm was promoted to head coach, a move that was a simple one but brilliant by WKU Director of Athletics Todd Stewart. What Brohm did in 3 seasons as WKU's head coach was absolutely spectacular, taking WKU football to an even higher level, 30 wins, multiple conference championships, and multiple bowl game victories. Last December, Brohm was hired by the Big Ten's Purdue Boilermakers, joining Willie Taggart and Bobby Petrino as former Tops head coaches currently at Power 5 conference head coaching positions. 13 Sports' Dominique Yates has more on the down-to-earth Brohm and his fond memories on the Hill.
There's no question about it. The Western Kentucky football team has reached unbelievable heights in just a short amount of time. Back-to-back Conference USA championships, 3 straight bowl games, and for the first time in school history, the Tops have had 2 straight years of double-digit win seasons. All of this happened under the direction of Jeff Brohm. After 3 seasons and 30 wins, Brohm made the decision to take the head coaching job at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana, and that's where we are today. For the first time since December of 2016, Jeff Brohm sat down with the 13 Sports crew and he talked about his time in Bowling Green and reflected on all of the success that he had with his team.
That's a huge credit to the players and all the hard work and all the hard work of the coaches that were put in. But, you know, it's just a group of guys that you try to recruit that not only know how to play the game but have great character.
Brohm's players won a lot of games on Saturdays, and now some of them are getting the chance to play on Sundays in the National Football League. That includes quarterback Brandon Dowdy, tight end Tyler Higbee, basketball turned starting offensive lineman George Fant, and this past season, wide receiver Taywan Taylor and offensive lineman Forrest Lamp became the 2 highest draft picks in program history.
Those are 2 guys that really were the prime example of someone who wanted to come into a program, work extremely hard to improve their ability and improve the program. And to see them get a chance to fulfill a lifelong dream, we couldn't be happier for them. I think they're going to have great careers.
Brohm has never been one to take all of the credit for his success with the Hilltoppers. He says a lot of credit goes not only to the players and staff, but the leadership of Athletic Director Todd Stewart and retired WKU President Dr. Gary Ransdale as well.
Both those guys have had great vision, they have a great work ethic, and they really take a lot of pride in the Hilltopper Red, and they've done a great job.
Really about halfway through that season, I was really convinced at that time that, you know, if Coach Petrino left, Jeff Brohm would be the perfect person to replace him.
During his time with the Tops, Brohm and his family was also very active in the community. You could always expect to see them at different sporting events waving the red towel, which is why he says, after what the school and town has to offer, he considers WKU a great place to be. And although he's on to new challenges as he'll lead the Purdue Boilermakers in the fall, he'll never forget his time with WKU.
I think right now the program is sky high. I think the community in town is a great place to live. There's great leadership at the school. There's a lot of sports fans that want the program to have success. You have tremendous facilities. So I think it's one of the most attractive jobs out there. And I think anyone who gets a chance to coach there is going to love every aspect of it, and I think they're going to find a way to win for sure. And I had a tremendous time. My family did. It was we had a great run. It was something that we feel like we accomplished a lot of goals, and it was definitely without question hard to leave and accept another challenge. But I'm happy for where the program's at, and I'm looking forward to watching them, and will always be a Hilltopper fan.
Coach Brohm's family includes his wife Jennifer, his son Brady, and his daughter Brooke. 2 of Jeff Brohm's brothers, Greg and Brian, were WKU assistants under Jeff and have joined Jeff as assistant coaches on his Boilermakers coaching staff. Coming up on our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football coaching Hotbed on the Hill, we will check in with the current gridiron leader of the Tops, Mike Sanford. And in a couple of moments, all four coaches reflect on the role that leadership played in WKU Football's sensational turnaround. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football coaching Hotbed on the Hill. WKU Football opens its 2017 season by hosting in-state rival EKU at Houchin-Smith Stadium. And Mike Sanford will be a head coach for the first time in his career. But Sanford is not your ordinary first-year head coach. 34 years old when he was hired by WKU last December, Sanford has a dozen years of coaching experience under his belt. Willie Taggart was also 34 years old at the time he was hired as the Hilltoppers head coach, which is ironic considering that Sanford was part of Taggart's first coaching staff at WKU. Sanford most recently served as the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, but has spent a lifetime around football because of his dad, Mike Sr., a respected coaching lifer who is one of Sanford's assistant coaches this season. Sanford is most impressed with the jobs that Coach Taggart, Coach Petrino, and Coach Brohm did during their time on the Hill, and he aspires to take the Tops to an even higher level. Mike Sanford was at WKU 7 years ago when he joined Willie Taggart's first staff on the Hill. Sanford remembers the thrill on October 23, 2010, when WKU Football snapped a 26-game losing skid.
I've never been so exhilarated with a victory because there was a lot more to it than just winning a game. I'd grabbed K1 Jakes after the game. He played particularly well that day, and I grabbed him and took a picture under the scoreboard. There on the road underneath the scoreboard at Arkansas State, because that meant a lot.
It was Sanford's fond memories while spending 2010 in Bowling Green that played a big role in his interest in the WKU head coaching post when Jeff Brohm left for Purdue last December.
I felt that this place was going to turn the corner because of the recruiting, the natural base that you had. It's a fertile area for recruiting. Within 4 hours, you can get to, Atlanta, Chicago in 5.5. You can get to St. Louis. You can get to Cincinnati. You can get to the entire state of Tennessee. Louisville's within an hour and a half. There's so much that you can do from a recruiting standpoint. And then when you do get them here on their own or on an official visit, you have an unbelievably beautiful campus.
Sanford doesn't shy away from the high expectations placed on WKU football these days. In fact, he embraces them.
It's going to take a lot of hard work. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves. It's not going to happen in 1 year. It's not going to happen in 2 years. It's going to be a long-term plan, and that's what we're doing. That's what I really do believe that we have the ability to do right here, at Western Kentucky, what Chris Peterson accomplished at Boise State.
I think Mike could do a great job. I think Mike understands people. Mike have a lot of energy, which I think is so important. Mike can relate to the guys. He's smart. He put himself a good staff together.
Sanford also has great appreciation for the job done by his three previous predecessors, Willie Taggart, Bobby Petrino, and Jeff Brohm.
The fact that there are three head coaches that are, Power 5 head coaches that coached at Western Kentucky within the last 4 years, that's almost unheard of.
I think all three played a big role in where we are today. Willie Taggart, to me, built a foundation for our program. Bobby Petrino framed the house. And then I think Jeff Brohm came in and aligned all the furniture, brought in some new furniture, and made every room in the house go together and turn the house into a home. And that's really where our program is today. I think we've gone from a lot to now a beautiful home.
Coach Sanford's family includes his wife Anne Marie, his daughter Peyton, and his sons Gunnar and Griffin. And as we mentioned a couple of moments ago, his father Mike Sr. is an assistant coach on the Hilltoppers football staff. Well, we're coming up next. All four coaches say that the leadership on the Hill has played a huge part in the incredible 8-year turnaround of WKU football. We'll have that story next on our 13 Sports Special, WKU Football coaching Hotbed on the Hill. Retired WKU President Dr. Gary Ransdell was WKU's president during the hires of Willie Taggart, Bobby Petrino, Jeff Brohm, and Mike Sanford. Todd Stewart was on the Tops football media relations staff when Taggart was hired, but was in his current position as the Tops director of athletics during the hires of Petrino, Brohm, and Sanford. All four coaches hold the leadership skills of Ransdell and Stewart in high regard.
That's one thing about Todd. He understands people, and he really understands good people and good coaches, and he's been around sports his entire life, and I think that's helped him and his role and just making the tough decision and what was best for the university. I think that's always important, especially when you're in a leadership position.
He's just a great communicator. You know, you can see his background come out and his SID background, and you know, I think that he did a great job of helping me with the media and being prepared and doing all that. But Todd's a great communicator, really understands the business, and has done a great job getting good people around him.
He's a great relationship person. He understands what it takes to win. He understands that we're going to strive for the best, but he's going to be there with you through good and rough times, and he has done a tremendous job. And both those guys have had great vision. They have a great work ethic, and they really take a lot of pride in the Hilltopper Red, and they've done a great job.
He's made all the right moves, you know, at the right times, and you know, and I respect that. And for me to be that next move that he made, which hopefully is consistent with his track record, is humbling, and it's an honor. And that in and of itself, and just the hires that he's made, you know, it speaks to who he is and his vision for this university.
And that brings to our close our 13 Sports Special WKU Football Coaching Hotbed on the Hill. All of us at 13 Sports thank you, the viewers, for spending the past half hour with us. Have a great evening.